Yeah. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Next Chapter's DMV's podcast. I'm your host, Anisha. Today, I have the pleasure of talking to one of my dearest cousins, Chanel. Hey, Chanel, welcome to the show.
Hey.
As we go about today's conversation, I want to remind everyone that this is a safe place. Today's conversation is about mental health, healing, and growth. So take what you need from this episode and join us. Let's begin. It's time to chat. Hey, Chanel, how are you
Oh,
doing
I'm
today?
excited. I'm
You're
doing
excited?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to you and welcome you to the new hood of motherhood. Chanel's a new mom.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about that so far?
I'm feeling good. And I think it's so timely because Mother's Day is around too. So I'm just like, I'm kind of a
Yeah.
little nervous as well, you
And now
know?
that you said that, like this episode will drop on Mother's Day. So let's just say happy Mother's Day to all the mommies out there.
Yes.
Yes, a shout out to you, whether you're a mom or an adopted mom or an auntie mom, shout out to you. You are seen and appreciated.
hmm
So let's hop right into today's conversation. What does mental health personally means to you?
Okay. So honestly, when I hear the word mental health, immediately my brain comes like to mind of am I thinking good thoughts or am I thinking bad? Like, what's the good and versus the bad that's going on in my head?
Hmm.
I think it's an important thing to take heed to, and it's not something to be overlooked, honestly. Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. It's something that you take the time to identify. And
yeah.
why do you think mental health conversations are important today?
Well, like I said, it could be something overlooked, whether it's for yourself or anyone else. I think it brings a good highlight to the table, like to promote what's really going on.
Hmm.
Um, because even with you, like there's a lot of invisible things that could be going on, and
Hmm.
you don't even notice because for me personally, I have a bad habit of moving in autopilot. So I might not realize like, oh, I'm actually adding too much on my plate. And I think hearing someone else talk about it, or maybe seeing something online, brings a lot of attention to the brain.
Yeah, which leads me into my next question. Like, what misconceptions do you think people have around mental health that you think should be understood a little bit better?
Like I said, the visibility, I think it's almost like a disability that's invisible that you can't see.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It's almost like a catch-22, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely. Can you share a moment when you changed how you viewed mental health?
Mm, I could talk about the past and the present. Um, so in the past, I did have a friend that was going through a lot mentally, and she would bottle up everything. And towards the end, like, whenever anything happened, I was out of her control. Emotionally, there was no control. And that was like my first full example of, whoa, like I think this is like a mental problem, and this could probably happen to me as well too.
Hmm.
Later down the line with dealing with postpartum, I think I'm like 4.5 weeks now.
Yeah.
I think personally for my mental health and my mental state as well too, I had to do a lot of self-reflection
Hmm.
and realize like, ooh, I'm getting troubled. Like I'm feeling troubled right now. So again, back to like the first question where I said it's something where I'm like, how many good thoughts am I having versus the bad? And that's when I know my mental health is not in a good standard that I want it to be. And life is a balance anyway. So I feel like my mental health should be in a balance, and anyone's mental health should have a healthy balance and not an unhealthy one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think those are two instances where I'm like, okay, this is important. Let's bring some light to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. What healthy habits do you have or that has helped you maintain a healthy mental wellness?
Well, spiritually, the best thing that helps is fasting and praying. Especially in the beginning of like my walk. I did a lot of fasting and cleansing, and wasn't just from like social media. Like that was what I was intaking as well too. So being sober minded, whether it was from drugs or alcohol, like I had to throw that all out or step away from that. Food wise, I was not eating like fast food. Whether it was a biblical fast where I'm fasting from like eating certain foods that's like, stricted from the Bible, or I'm just not eating all the unhealthy foods that would slow me down. Um, and yeah, I think putting myself on a quote unquote, like not like a strict program, but having some type of structure.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, how do you know when to slow down and reset?
When I'm feeling less motivated, when I don't feel like doing nothing, I know like I done too much. Like the battery's burnt.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. What role do boundaries play in protecting your mental health?
Oof, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
That's a good question. I think it plays a big role in your life
Yeah.
because whatever you allow, it's already allowed. And that is a hard thing to either close that door and set that boundary, or whatever you open to, now it's open and it's a boundary that we already crossed and we're already there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And whether it's with family, friends, coworkers, I think it's very important to set boundaries and even set it for yourself too.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. And my
Yeah,
next question is, what does rest look like for you beyond sleep?
especially right now, right?
Especially right now. Yeah.
Um, I want to say like a reset day, whether it's maintenance and or just not doing the normal routine, like the normal everyday. Like I said, autopilot, right? So it's like wake up, feed the baby, whatnot. Life without the baby is wake up, go to work, get dressed, stay at work from X amount of time to X amount of time, come home, drive home, take a break.
Mhm.
So the reset would either be for me to do my maintenance. Like when I know like my hair is not done, my nails are not done, I'm like,
Oh,
okay, oof, you've been
yeah.
working and not taking care of yourself, or whether that's in the house, like being a good steward as well too. So
Hmm.
if my house is overly messy, I know like the brain is going crazy right now because it's like there's so much mess, and how can you operate in that mess? And then your head is like clouded. So I think, having a clean space, whether it's your car as well too. I think my car and my room would speak for my brain itself. If it's cluttered or if it got a lot going on, yeah, I need a reset because I'm just moving past everything like I don't care.
Yeah. How do you maintain hope in a difficult season?
Mm, um, again, not to like bring it back to God, but like
Yeah,
it
bring,
just makes more sense.
let's talk about God. He is a good God.
No, he really is. And it's a good thing to hold on to hope, like whether you've already you said in a bad season. So I
Yeah.
could think about the good season that I already had.
Mhm.
And if I was there before, I'm pretty sure I can get there again. Um, or if there's a new circumstance that was thrown at me that I never gone through. Um, Good thoughts. Honestly,
Good thoughts.
honestly, I think that's like the best thing to do is really sit there and go through good thoughts because I think yourself is your worst enemy.
Hmm.
So you could really eat yourself alive with just not thinking hopeful things. So the best thing for me is like say, well, we could talk about leave right now. I think that's a big thing, maternity leave, with the state. You're not gonna get paid right away.
Hmm.
So you can only imagine like me sitting there being hopeful, waiting to get paid, right?
Hmm.
But that can be a little bit stressful because you have bills, you have stuff to do, you have maintenance to do, you have things that you need to go out and go get, you got groceries to get, maybe the baby needs something or whatnot.
Hmm.
So throughout all of it, I'm like hopeful, like it's gonna work out, like things are gonna come
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, not really putting yourself down helps.
Hmm. That's a good thing. Just think about the happy things and what went well in those other seasons. How do you
Hmm.
separate your identity from your struggles?
Mm.
So just thinking about those hard times that I call them the down and the valley times. And it's like you're in the valley, and for me, when I'm in the valley, because I do go through those seasons, I tend to like question God, like kind of like why
Hmm.
me, why me? But then I have to reflect and like think about when I'm on the mountaintop, and even thinking about even though I'm in the valley, I know God is still with me. It's
Yes.
just that moment. But for me, it makes me really wrestle with my identity. Like, am I still a child of God if I'm in the valley? So I tend to think of
Hmm.
things like that. So I'm like, how do you separate your identity from your struggles?
Well, the Bible says like you don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Um, like I'm not wrestling against anything else but principalities.
Hmm.
So I try my best to not like have that reflect on me or walk with a struggle, right? Or walk with the frown on my face.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think you really said it nailed on with being down there and then from being at the top. Um, yeah, nah, I think you nailed it on the cross right
Yeah.
there.
And for me, sometimes it's even a contradictory place to be because sometimes you're on the mountain, but valley things happen. And sometimes you're
Yeah.
in the valley and it's just that low moment of struggle, but you can say, but I have this and I still have
Hmm.
this, and
Yeah.
it's like being in the valley, I personally think it doesn't take away from your identity, but it does for me, it makes me feel less off on some days,
Mm.
depending on what the situation is, because I tend to think like, why am I down here? Why couldn't it just be up there and still deal with that? So it tends to
Yeah.
make you like rethink about like who you are and you think about all the things that, well, maybe I need to change this or maybe I should have approached it this way and stuff. So I know being like going through a struggle, you struggle with, the identity portion of it. So that's how it works for me. But good.
That and not comparing yourself with others as well too. I think like that's like at almost everyone's problem, No one wants
Yeah.
to talk about it, but yeah.
No one wants to talk about it. I know.
Don't no one wants to talk about it.
I always say comparison, right, is a thief of joy. Like it takes all the joy
Hmm.
away. But I think that as human beings, like we can't help but to compare. It's kind of like we're conditioned to like make the comparison. And when we do that, like
Hmm.
it takes away from us. But I think one of the reasons why people do it is to like justify the situation that they're in, which is
Yeah.
for good anyway, because I think that's in itself it's like weighted down on your mental. So why do it?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you take on
Now you
things
have that
that
heavy burden.
yeah. What advice would you give to someone that's struggling mentally right now, but silently?
Silence is deadly.
Deadly, so deadly. Talk about it.
Silence is deadly, and you're not doing yourself any good with keeping yourself silent.
Hmm.
It My advice would be to voice it out, whether it is to voice it out to yourself first, voice it out to God, and then find yourself a support person or someone you can that would hold you accountable as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
Journal, write it down. I When I was like really struggling mentally, and we didn't get into it, but this was before I had like made a devotional journal. Um, I had a couple of journals. One was on my iPad. I had my notes, and I'd write to myself. I brought it back to the old days where you had your diary.
Hmm.
Um, so I did something like that. I had another journal that had like a 5-step thing, and it was like a everyday type of thing, but it didn't have a date. So if I didn't feel like opening my journal today, which is almost like my devotional journal now, that's okay. But I could always reflect on how I was feeling on Tuesday or how I was feeling last week or last month. Um, but yeah, the best thing that worked out for me was talking about it. And I'm the type of person to not talk about my struggles as much.
Hmm.
I've gotten better, but in the past it was like the silent killer. Like, I was walking silently in pain and nobody really knew. It really had to start with myself first. So the best thing to do is to check yourself. Like
Yeah.
I had to check myself. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go for help right now, but
Right. What was that moment where you had to like check yourself? Like basically, I guess you gave yourself that poke, like this is it. This is slowly eating you on the inside, slowly, silently killing you. What was that point like? Was it like a breaking point or like did you hear the voice of God or what was that moment like when you made the pivot?
Mm, it was a little bit of both, because that was a season where God was really cleansing me of all sins, of all people that shouldn't even be in my life, of my willful ways. I was literally walking in my will and not his.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that season hurt. That was the pruning season. It hurt bad. Because I'm thinking everyone's against me. I'm thinking, what did I do wrong? Or how did I get caught? Like, it's just like so much like, I think I was making myself, what do you call that? The victim.
Mm. Yeah.
And I wasn't the victim. Like, I kind of had caused the mess in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had some cleaning up to do.
Okay, so that cleaning up moment made you realize, okay, I am not silently suffering anymore. And that's good because a lot of times I think people suffer silently and think like
Hmm.
that's the way to go and not knowing like there's help. There is help
Yes.
for you. Find a trusted person or go to God or something, but start somewhere and don't suffer silently. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on and reflecting on days when like your mental health is a little bit scattered, what gives you peace on those days?
Um, Almost like the reset. So, for example, like at work, I think that can happen the most in a sense where I may get overwhelmed, and or even at home. So my biggest thing is walking away. Not
Hmm.
in a bad way. So, say for example, I'm walking away to my car. Anywhere where I could get like a private setting, I'm walking away to the next room. Um, I'm just moving myself from the situation.
Hmm.
I've seen on TikTok. I think it was like 2 days ago, and it was really good. It was a mother talking about an experience with her daughter, and basically, like, just to run it really quickly, her daughter was on the playground with someone, and they were playing all dandy, everything was going great. And then another girl came, I guess it was a formal friend where her daughter was playing with. All of a sudden, that girl was like, "Yeah, we're not gonna play with the mother's daughter anymore. Let's walk, like, let's not play with you."
Mm,
And obviously, the daughter was in distraught, and then the mom saw, and she pulled her to the side. And the advice that she gave her was, people can change, and that's okay. When people change and you don't like the way that they're changing, you can walk away. You can remove yourself. And she gave her a pep talk, like, you're a good kid, like, you're a good person. You make a lot of friends, you have other friends. And then she reminded her of, like, one of her two best friends, and how good she is as a person. But the best thing I took from that was, like, yeah, if something's going on and I don't like it, I don't have to sit there and rot in the situation. I can just remove myself. So yeah, once you feel you're uncomfortable when it comes to being mentally uncomfortable, that's not healthy.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's a good scenario, by the way. And in life, I think I want all the listeners to know today, like, you do have choices. If something is not working out with something or someone, you do have other choices. So just move on to those other choices.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, so that's a good one. Well, that was my last question for you. It was really, really, really great chatting with you today. And I want to let the listeners know that you're also an author of a daily information, or should I say affirmation journal?
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that word affirmation, like, for Christians, some people see like red, and they don't like the word affirmation as well. But affirmation is not bad. Like, that's like
Yeah.
saying rainbows, and everyone's like, oh, you know, the big other thing. But rainbow is of God as well too.
Well,
So yes.
tell us about the journal. Tell us where we can buy it.
So I actually had it right here. It is a devotional journal. I'm sorry, my blur
Yes,
is
here we
on.
go.
You
Oops.
really see it better?
Um,
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'll link it on
Yeah,
the
send me a
thing.
picture. I was
I would
out
have to
there.
take off my blur setting,
Blur.
but it is on Amazon. I believe it's for 18.99. I'm pretty sure there's a sale coming up. I'm not sure how much it's gonna be.
And what should we search
But it's
for on Amazon?
the Blooming Faith Devotional Journal
The
by
blooming
Chanel
thing.
Jr.
Okay. I will make sure I put that in the description box and link it as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so
And
we're
if you
gonna
guys haven't already, check out her book.
Yes, my book. Yes, link in the bio for all that stuff for my book as well. So I really want to thank you for having this chat with me around mental health today, and want to leave you listeners with a little mental health quote for today. So mental health is not about having perfect days. It's about learning how to carry yourself through the imperfect
Hmm.
ones with grace, patience, and a hope. Again,
Yes,
thank you for
that is
listening.
good.
Yes, and happy Mother's Day to all the mommies.
Happy
Chatting
Mother's
with you,
Day.
Chanel.
This was refreshing.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.